Devin, Let's Talk 8 here. How's it going, everybody? Hope you all had a good weekend. Back out here with another fan request. We got today. The topic is, and they kind of go hand in hand. You'll see by a little bit of comparisons that I've made here. Drug addicts, first off, and lazy people go hand in hand. That's the reason why society is the way it is today. With that being said, we got the lazy people sit around their house all day, probably laying in bed still right now. What is it? It's like 6 o'clock, and I mean 7 o'clock. Who cares? And they're probably still laying in bed, not even knowing what's going on. And I mean, what they do is they sit around all day, probably play video games, smoke like 6 packs of cigarettes, which I don't know how they afford, but I mean, we're gonna get to that. They wait around all day in their dirty house, playing their stupid games, which I mean, they can't be too stupid, but anyway, they sit around waiting for that support check to come in. It's kind of like almost a clock sets off in the morning whenever they wake up. Some bone thugs. Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's the first of the month, And I mean, they run out there real fast to their mailbox. Get out there to the mailbox and like, oh my God. And sometimes it kind of makes me think, like, how are they living off this stuff? And they expect handouts from everybody. But it's kind of like the next line of that song for a lazy person could almost go like, cash your check that you got, and then thank us for supporting your ass. I mean, stupid lazy people. But I mean, you're gonna be lazy for a reason. I mean, there's got to be lazy people in order for us hiring people to get our jobs. But with that, also like drug addicts. I mean, they're a little bit more upkept. I mean, depending on what drug, I've seen it happen, and depending on what drug it is, them people can have some clean ass houses. I mean, they live like crap, but then you look at their houses like, dang, look at that ceiling fan. Oh my God, it is spotless. And I wonder why. Toot up, I mean, who cares? Do what you gotta do. But I mean, don't be waiting for us to pay for your habit, because that be getting out of hand. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got a kid over here sitting in holy sweatpants that are your grandpa's from back in 1843, and you're wearing a fresh pair of Nikes. How does that work? But it's kind of like the same thing. They're sitting around their house, enjoying themselves some goods, and they're like, what's up, dude? And the alarm goes off. It's like, wake up, wake up, wake up. It's the first of the month. And then they run out there. It's like, yeah, go grab your checks that we gave you and go roll another blunt. Whoa. I mean, it's so funny though, because they don't even realize that they're like, we're supporting their habit. And it gets old. It really does. But I mean, I'm not gonna sit here. But I mean, but with that, I mean, it gets stupid. But who cares, right? Who cares? But with that, another thing, lazy people. Have you ever talked to a really lazy person? Their answers are even lazy. You know what I'm saying? You go to them, you're like, hey man, how's it going? I don't know. Just sleeping all day. I don't know. What are you talking about? We got a president, he's black? Dude, catch up on society, dude. Like, you're so far behind. It's like, dude, you're worse than, like, your answers are worse than, like, a homeless guy living in a box. I mean, come on. Like, it don't get much more lazy than that. And that's pretty lazy. I mean, thank you, Mr. Tyler, for noticing that one. But, I mean, another thing is, like, it's kind of like a lazy person. Sometimes it goes along with the drug addicts who always call in, get off work. But they lose their job. What do they talk about? They get mad. Their first response, lazy responses to people who get fired from their job. My boss hated me. Really? Your boss hated you? Don't you know what a boss is? They're supposed to be pricks. I've never had a boss that loved me. And if I did, I never knew it because they were always a prick. I mean, dang. It gets outrageous. I mean, and then they're like, it's like, your boss is never going to be your BFF. Don't ever think like that. Another thing. Oh, I got fired because I called in today. You got fired because you called into work? How many times have you called in before this, though? Yeah, exactly. Boom! You got fired because you're a repetitive call-in. You're a repeat offender. Get over yourself. I mean, come on. Or my all-time favorite. It's like, how hard can it honestly be? I mean, oh, I quit because I couldn't handle it. I never knew punching a button on a cash register and flipping a burger and wrapping it and putting it in a box, giving it to a person was so damn hard. But goddamn lazy people are like, I work at McDonald's. I'm flipping burgers. I'm making fries. It's like, dude, you have the easiest job possible. But anyway, guys, I don't want to get too far off. But anyway, guys, I hope you love it. Enjoy. Toy Talk 8 here. Be coming back. You know what that means? That's a royal flush, baby.